Indiana, minus 8.5. Indiana Hoosiers to win the national championship and cover their point spread, minus 8.5, in their upcoming game against the Miami Hurricanes on Monday, January 19th, 2026, is the expert opinion of multiple college football authorities and is supported by power ratings and AI-powered data analysis. I conducted extensive research on the national championship game between Indiana and Miami, which I will present in this video. In the description box below this video is a link where you can download a PDF file with my full research report. Go to the description box below this video. At the top is a link. Click the link and it will take you to my Google Drive where you can download my research report by clicking File, Download. The full research report has 41 pages. The first 7 pages has an executive summary with the expert picks and key injuries. So if you want a quick overview, start on page 2. I start by presenting the expert opinions of 8 college football authorities: Joel Klatt, Greg McElroy, Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, CBS Sports' John Talty, and Chip Patterson, Pro Football Focus, Max Chadwick, and Dalton Wasserman. All 8 of these experts predict that Indiana will win. So 100% consensus on the winner of the national championship game being the Indiana Hoosiers. 6 of the 8 predict that Indiana will cover the point spread, minus 8.5, meaning Indiana will win by 9 or more points. Greg McElroy and Mark Ingram predicted that Indiana Hoosiers would win, but they would win by 7 or fewer points. That is, the Miami Hurricanes would cover the point spread of plus 8.5. On page 4, I have the results of 4 power ratings: ESPN's Football Power Index, Bill Conley's SP Plus Power Ratings, Team Rankings Power Ratings, and Jeff Sagarin's College Football Ratings. Using these power ratings, I was able to calculate the point spread based on these power ratings for the upcoming national championship game. All 4 of these power ratings predict that Indiana would win, and the margin of victory would be 9 or more points. That is, Indiana would cover the point spread. ESPN's Football Power Index predicts that Indiana will win by 9.5 points. Bill Connelly predicts 11.1 points as the margin of victory. Team Rankings predicts that Indiana would win by 11 points. Jeff Sagarin actually has multiple different ratings. His overall rating predicts that Indiana would win by 7.79 points. But he also has a power rating that puts more weight on recent games and even more weight on recent games, recent and strong recent. And both of the power ratings that emphasize the more recent games predict that Indiana will win by over 10 points. In fact, the recent power rating predicts that Indiana will win by 12.98 points. The strong recent power ratings predicts that Indiana would win by 17.71 points. In addition, in this report, I had ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok perform a data analysis and predict the score of this national championship game. ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok all predicted that Indiana would win and they would cover the point spread. The margin of victory would be 10 or 11 points. ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. In order to generate these findings, I uploaded the information in this report, including college football statistics, the injury report, as well as transcripts from Joel Klatt, Greg McElroy, and Pro Football Focus. I uploaded that into the artificial intelligence and had it perform a deep thinking analysis and predict the final score. So in this situation, AI is in line with power ratings as well as expert opinions. I also asked artificial intelligence to predict the first half score. This is where I believe that this is probably the best bet. the first half is Indiana minus 4.5, which means Indiana needs to win the first half by 5 points or more. The potential advantage that Indiana has in the first half is that Miami's starting defensive back will be suspended in the first half because of targeting in the previous game. And artificial intelligence predicted that Indiana would, in fact, win and cover the first half. The margin of victory in the first half will be 7 or 10 points. So the point spread for the first half is Indiana minus 4.5, which is lower than the whole game, which is minus 8.5. It's a lower number to overcome. Key injuries: Miami and Indiana. Both coaches had press conferences on Monday, January 12th. Miami, the update from head coach Mario Cristobal is that the starting tight end is questionable. Defensive back Xavier Lucas is suspended in the first half. Two of the defensive backs, Frederic and Damari Brown, are coming back from injuries. And if they're shorthanded, they can utilize true freshman defensive back Jabari Antone, who's played in 4 games, including the last game against Ole Miss. He's a true freshman. Indiana Hoosiers reported that the coach stated that they came out really good from their previous game against Oregon, and everybody that played in the Oregon game will play in the upcoming game against Miami. The key injury is defensive lineman Stephen Daly, who got injured, who last played on December 6th against Ohio State. But he didn't play against Oregon, so that's not a new injury. Key factors from the research and listening to the expert opinions is the key factors in this game are efficiency and errors. That's Indiana's efficiency and Miami's errors. Miami's errors include penalties and turnovers. So in the remainder of this report, starting on page 9, I provide the links as well as key takeaways from the experts. So this is Joel Klatt. He's a Fox Sports analyst. I provide the link to his podcast. And here he picks Indiana to win 35-24. Then I have Greg McElroy. He's an ESPN analyst. He, in fact, was the announcer for the Oregon-Indiana game. So he was able to see Indiana first close up. His analysis is very detailed. It's a combination of watching film and looking at statistics. I highly recommend listening to both Joel Klatt's YouTube video as well as Greg McElroy's. And he predicts Indiana will win 27-20. Urban Meyer and Mark Ingram have a podcast. Also, Urban Meyer predicts that Indiana would win, and he said 9, and then he said 8-9. So he's thinking that Indiana will win by 8-9. He's leaning toward Indiana to also covering the point spread. Pro Football Focus, they provide sports analytics for the NFL as well as college football. And the video that I link here, the two analysts, Wasserman and Chadwick, go into great detail into the statistics that Pro Football Focus has on Indiana and on Miami. And they review all the statistics and they come up with their final conclusion, which is that Indiana would win and they would cover the point spread. I also provide here the picks for Chip Patterson and John Talty. They're both analysts for CBS Sports. CBS Sports actually provides the expert picks of multiple experts. But the reason why I picked Chip Patterson and John Talty is they have the best record in the playoffs. So far, both of them are 5-5, have won 5 out of their 6 picks against the spread in the playoffs. So Chip Patterson, he correctly picked in the previous round Miami and Indiana. And then the round before that, in the first round, Miami, Oregon, and Indiana. And John Talty, in the last round, he picked Indiana. And in the round before that, in the first round, he picked Miami, Oregon, and Indiana. He actually picked Ole Miss to cover the point spread against Georgia. So that was pretty impressive. So these two guys have the best record in the playoffs, which is 5-6 for both of them. It's over 80% correct against the spread. Okay, in the next grouping here, I provide the power ratings from 4 different authoritative sources: ESPN, Football Power Index, And basically what a power rating is if you take the power ratings of two different teams and subtract them, you get a calculated point spread for a neutral field. So on ESPN, their power rating is Indiana 31.7, Miami 22.2. So on a neutral field, which it technically is the national championship game is on a neutral field, even though it's in Miami. The margin of victory is 9.5 points. Then we have Bill Conley. He's an analyst for ESPN. He has his own separate power rating. His power rating predicts a margin of victory of 11. Team rankings predicts that Indiana wins by 11. And Jeff Sagarin, he's a mathematician trained at MIT, and he provides power ratings, and he actually provided power ratings for the BCS in the past, and also he provides power ratings for the March Madness Selection Committee. So he has multiple different power ratings, but his overall power rating predicts a margin of victory of 7.79. But if you look at his power ratings, which weigh more recent performance, teams get better or worse throughout the season because of injuries, or teams get better. If you weigh the more recent outcomes, then Indiana will win by over 12 points, even up to 17 points in his power rating. Next, I include key statistics, but I really focused on statistics that I believe that the key factors are going to be Indiana's efficiency and Miami's errors, including penalties and turnovers. This is where you see the largest separation. So in general, Indiana is very efficient, very few penalties, very few turnovers. And in contrast, Miami tends to have higher penalties per game, and more turnovers. So the statistics that I focused on here: turnover margin, penalties, third down conversion, fourth down conversion, and red zone conversion. And in terms of turnover margin, penalties, third down conversion, and red zone conversion, Indiana is superior to Miami. Fourth down conversions, Miami is actually really good, 68% fourth down conversions versus Indiana. Now, with respect to defense red zone conversions, Indiana and Miami are basically the same. So that wasn't a separation. So the statistics here look at the key separation. So Miami, for example, where this became very noticeable in their game against Ole Miss, they had 10 penalties in that game, which was 74 yards and also killed several drives. So that was an issue. But that's their tendency. They tend to be a more penalized team compared to Indiana. Next, I provide odds information for the point spread, total, money line. FanDuel provides first half point spread, Indiana minus 4.5. This is the first half. Also, I provide line movement information. And also in this report, I provide the URL web links to all these sources so you can look at them yourselves. So the line originally started at Indiana minus 7.5. Many people, more of the money went to Indiana, so Vegas adjusted the line to minus 8.5. Next, I provide information on, there's actually, sportsbooks actually provide information on where the money's going. And actually, a majority of the money is actually going to Indiana winning and covering the point spread. In the final section, I provide more details about the artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. I asked them to predict the final score, and they all predicted that Indiana would win and cover. I also provide screenshots of the actual outputs from ChatGPT. I used extended thinking mode, or expert mode. And you see here ChatGPT thought for 8 minutes on this. I also provide a prompt, so you can also do this yourself. You can go to ChatGPT and put in this prompt, and then and do your own data analysis. And I also provide the inputs that I use. So I provided the transcripts from 3 podcasts from Greg McElroy, Pro Football Focus, and Joel Klatt, because they were the most detailed and data-driven. Then I also included the college football stats that I discussed in this report, and I also included the injury report. So with these inputs and the prompt, give it several minutes and ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok were able to predict the outcomes. One thing I'd like to show you here is I tell the artificial intelligence to use Python. So use Python whenever calculations, aggregations, reconciliations, or validation improves accuracy. This is important because it forces or it compels the artificial intelligence to be more accurate and precise and deterministic. So whenever I want to do data analysis, I always put an instruction regarding Python. So after doing that, I opened up new chat windows, because what happens is if you're having ChatGPT do complex analysis, you want to actually open up a new window when you're going to do a new analysis. So I opened up new windows because I wanted a first half score prediction. So in a similar process, I uploaded those 5 sources, the transcripts from Greg McElroy's podcast, Pro Football Focus, and Joel Klatt's podcast, statistics, and an injury report. And I specifically asked in these new windows, I asked it to predict the first half score. And all 3 predicted that Indiana would win the first half by 7 to 10 points, which would cover the point spread for the first half of Indiana minus 4.5. Going back to the injury report, one of the key injuries is the defensive back, Xavier Lucas, will be suspended the first half because of a targeting penalty in the previous game. So they're going to be not having a starting cornerback, this Miami. This gives Indiana an advantage, which the artificial intelligence, they all mentioned this as a reason to favor Indiana in the first half. So because of that first half suspension, Indiana minus 4.5, in my opinion, considering all this information, is the best bet. Indiana first half minus 4.5.